Hello and welcome to Windworks, the podcast for community wind orchestras who want to go inside the music before they play it. I'm David.
And I'm Jenny. Today, we're galloping into Gioacchino Rossini's William Tell Overture Finale in a concert band arrangement by Robert Longfield, published by L Barnhouse, level 3.5.
This is the bit everyone knows, the electric 6/8 gallop that popular culture borrowed as the Lone Ranger theme. But let's ground it in context. Rossini's last opera, Guillaume Tell, premiered in 1829. The overture paints 4 scenes: dawn, a storm, a pastoral alpine song, and finally, this whirlwind of a finale. It's not literally a horse chase in the opera, it's Rossini's way of unleashing energy and optimism, the Swiss racing toward freedom.
Now, about the arrangement. Robert Longfield's concert band version is designed for solid intermediate ensembles, grade 3.5, with comfortable ranges, carefully shared technical figures, and supportive cues. In other words, it captures the sparkle of the original while staying playable for a community group. And remember, no strings in a wind orchestra, so the bright, perpetual motion that violins usually provide has to be reimagined with winds and percussion.
Style first. The meter is 6/8, and your best friend is the dotted quarter pulse. If you feel it as 2 big beats, 1 and 4, you'll keep the gallop buoyant. If you slip into subdividing every eighth, it can bog down. If you feel it as triplet 2/4, it gets square. So, players rehearse with the metronome on the dotted quarter. Conductors will likely set it somewhere around a brisk allegro. Pick a tempo where clarity wins, and then let the energy come from articulation and dynamics, not just speed.
Speaking of articulation, think wind spiccato. That string bow bounce becomes our lifted tongue. 2 golden rules. Keep the note fronts clean and leave space at the ends. Short doesn't mean harsh. If you see 2 note slurs, lean into the first and release the second lightly. If it's all staccato, aim for consistent length across the section so the texture shimmers rather than pecks.
Balance is the next pillar. In this arrangement, the melody tends to trade between upper woodwinds and trumpets, sometimes doubled. Accompaniment figures, those perpetual eighths and inner offbeats, must sit a dynamic step below the melody. Low brass and low reeds, your lightness matters. Buoyant eighths, clear note length, and a touch less volume than you think. If the foundation gets heavy, the gallop loses lift.
Let's give some section-by-section tips, starting with flutes and piccolo. When you get the tune on top, keep the air fast and the articulation focused. Crisp, not clipped. Intonation can get tricky in the upper register, so aim the pitch center slightly high on soft entries and manage crescendos with air, not bite. If there are running lines shared between flutes and clarinets, match lengths and accents exactly.
Clarinets. A few things. First, crossing the break cleanly in 6/8 requires right-hand preparation. Practice slow with the dotted quarter click, then speed up. For throat tones, add a whisper of support to stabilize intonation. And when you're on the motor, those repeated eighths, think light lift, not ta-ka-ta-ta-ta.
Saxophones often carry the inner engine here. Your job is groove and glue. Beautifully even airflow, identical articulation across the section, and a centered sound that doesn't dominate. Keep vibrato minimal so it blends with clarinets and horns. If you get a statement of the tune, brighten the core without getting edgy.
Horns and low brass, you do a lot of offbeat work and reinforcement. Aim for quick, resonant attacks with immediate releases. For horns especially, align offbeats with the conductor's upstroke so the texture breathes. Trombones, articulation, 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 fronts together and slide travel efficient. Euphoniums, sing when you have melody. Otherwise, sustain the cushion and resist overwarming the texture.
Trumpets. This piece is your playground, but also your stamina test. Keep fanfares brilliant and centered, not splashed. If the line sits high for long stretches, plan smart breathing and consider rotating principal and section leads on repeated statements during rehearsals to keep endurance. Align your articulations so every accent speaks together and keeps sforzandi tall rather than wide.
Tubas and bassoons. You're the springs under the carriage. Think vertical clarity on beginnings, slight decay, and immediate lift. The aim is bounce with body, never thud. If you feel weight creeping in, shorten by 1 millimeter and use a quicker air release.
Percussion. You set the horse in motion. Snare drum, crisp, dry strokes, minimal buzz, and absolutely consistent patterns that reinforce the 2 big beats of 6/8. Bass drum should be articulate, not boomy. Think immediate muffles to preserve clarity. Cymbals, quick, matched crashes with thoughtful chokes so they amplify dynamic waves without washing over the band. If there's triangle or tambourine, use them to add sparkle on crescendos, not to redefine the groove.
Let's talk form and color. Rossini loves to build in waves, those famous crescendos that start from almost nothing and crest into brilliance. In Longfield's band setting, you'll feel these terraces. Tune enters clearly, texture thickens, then a reset and another wave. Shape phrases with line and direction, even when dynamics don't explicitly change. Aim each 8-measure unit somewhere, then release.
Watch for modulations and echo statements. Often a phrase will repeat at a new level or in a new color, perhaps clarinets, then trumpets. The first can be confident, the echo should be either lighter or brighter, depending on what's written. As a rule of thumb, if you're the second to state an idea, change something, color, length, or contour, to make the sequence feel inevitable, not repetitive.
Ensemble pitfalls to avoid: slipping into 3/4 feel, over-tonguing loud sections, and burying the melody under enthusiastic inner voices. Solve them by rehearsing at a steady dotted quarter tempo, agreeing on a default staccato length, and using melody -2 balancing. Accompaniment sits 2 dynamics under the tune unless otherwise marked.
A quick practice checklist. Metronome on dotted quarter, alternate runs between players to build evenness. 8-measure breath plans for wins, stagger on long ostinatos, sectional articulation agreements, circle identical figures, and unify links. Rossini crescendos start genuinely soft so there's somewhere to go.
In performance, picture the landscape, the surge forward, the sunlight on steel, the collective momentum. If everyone commits to lightness and lift, the piece feels faster than it is, which is exactly the illusion Rossini loved.
That's William Tell Overture Finale, arranged for concert band by Robert Longfield, published by L Barnhouse, level 3.5, a classic that rewards precision, balance, and a shared sense of joy.
Thanks for listening to Windworks. We hope this guide helps your ensemble bring Rossini's Galop to life.
And if you'd like to hear an example performance, click the link in the description. See you next time.